Every now and then a game comes out that completely redefines the genre, and the sort of thinking of what that type of game could and should be changes forever. That isn't the case with Rage 2. However, it is one of the more enjoyable games I've played this year. It's just not memorable, nor will it be something that people will grab a lot of aspects from and sort of incorporate it to their future titles. In Rage 2, it's an open world game. If you haven't played the first game, it's totally fine. Nothing really carries over. You kind of can feel like you can go in pretty fresh. The only thing then is the story and the plot isn't very good. And that's sort of where the not really memorable thing starts. Ever since like the start of the game, from the opening cutscenes, things just kind of happen in a route and sort of predictable way. However, that's not where the fun of this game comes from. Instead, that actually comes from the combat itself, both the vehicle and sort of on the foot. Now, I was surprised to see how little sort of embedded the car combat was. You spend a lot of time driving around massive, albeit visually stunning open worlds with multiple biomes, but you don't necessarily do a lot of dynamic stuff within there. As you go around and explore, you'll come across bandit outposts, you'll come across sort of turrets to take down and things to find, but nothing feels that dynamic. And that's sort of one of the biggest down points to this game to me, is that the open world just isn't that fun to be in, nor does it sort of do anything that I haven't seen before. Despite that, there's a lot to sort of, it's still kind of necessary to explore because of the arcs. So throughout the world you can hold your focus and you'll see these crazy light beacons in the air which will show you the locations of arcs, and these arcs are critical to learning, or at least learning new abilities and finding new weapons. And it's, I guess with this, it's one of the more better ways to sort of uncover new weapons rather than sort of them being random loot drops somewhere or whatever else. You sort of have to find these things. They're in very specific places. And I sort of felt a bit old school, and that's sort of, I guess, one of the ways that this game stands out to me is that it, in terms of the first person shooting, it feels very old school. It's fast, it's bombastic, it's kind of crazy. And then you add the layers of the special abilities. As you sort of go through arcs, you'll find things like a ground pound, sort of a jetpack for double jump, sort of a move that you sort of jump forward and hit an enemy, and these sort of mix up the gameplay moments. So in the world, like I said, it's an open world, but when you get to these areas, it almost feels like it's like single player arena areas, something from like Doom. You can tell there's an id influence, like it's id and Avalanche. So you have the open world beautiful nature of the Avalanche games with the balls to the wall shooting of id games. And the thing is it feels like these are two developers that worked on the game almost separately and then kind of glued it together at the end, because sometimes when you're driving around it can be slow and trudging and honestly sometimes a bit dull. And then you have the gunplay, which is just, it is the best gunplay I've played all year. And having a game like Far Cry New Dawn recently and then moving on to this, you realize just how much better the shooting is in id titles. There's just something very special about how it feels, how it moves, how smooth it is. It's just so much fun. But like I said, it's an open world game, so what you expect is a lot of things to find, and that sort of kills a lot of time just to sort of feel like it's filler. And that's the problem, is this game feels like a lot of it is filler. If you mainline the quest, it's about a dozen hours, but the world is so big and there's actually so many things to do that's a lot longer. It's just not necessarily fun to do. To me, it is the best switch off your brain game I've played though in quite a while, and I mean quite a while, probably a couple of years. I just found myself eventually just pulling out the map, finding something nearby, going, doing it, having a blast, but not thinking too much about it. And then having stopped playing the game now for a couple of days, and now I'm looking back over the b-roll, I kind of half forgot some of it. Like it didn't occupy my mind at all, and now that this review is done, I feel like it's barely going to occupy my mind at all, which is disappointing, I suppose. Like when it comes to maybe end of the year, when I'm thinking of the best games of the year, in some ways while I'm talking now, I feel like, yeah, this should be up there, but I do have this thing in the back of my head where I'll probably just forget about it. And like I said, it's disappointing. Still, if you're looking for a game that will just be fun and you can move on, I can't recommend Rage 2 enough. But it's kind of a weird caveat to say about recommendations. If you're looking for a new type of open world game, or you're kind of burnt out on open world games and you want something different, you're not going to find it here. Still, it's, like I said, it's fine. I know that sounds a bit bad, but it's fine.